to this discussion. And obviously, it's an issue. I mean, a lot of level-minded people and people who have common sense understand how this is a major issue. You know, and there's a ton of articles on this. I mean, it goes on to... There's another one I was reading by Peter Calloway and Jeff Adachi, and it's called One Simple Way to Hold Bad Prosecutors Accountable. State bar organizations have the power to discipline prosecutors, but they studiously ignore bad behavior. And that sums it up. It's being ignored. And the primary duty of the state bar organization is to govern the conduct of the attorneys and to protect the public. But you're obviously not protecting the public if wrongful convictions are taking place and misconduct is taking place. And the misconduct, it undermines the presumption of innocence. You know, which is, like we spoke about, it's a fundamental principle of the criminal justice system. And it should apply to anybody who's accused of a crime. You know, and it erodes the right to a fair trial, the constitutional right to a fair trial. And that's a major, major problem. Because of misconduct, it's all part of this giant circle and this giant formula that they put into place to get convictions. There's a few bullet points on this article that I just want to touch on because it actually all rolls into a lot of the things I've discussed on the past episodes. And if you listen to the other episodes, all these things are going to strike a chord with you. Now, the first one, it says, when people are accused of a crime, they cease to be seen as people by our legal system and become merely criminals. And that's dead on. That whole innocent to proven guilty goes out the window. We spoke about that. And now they're simply criminals. As soon as they're charged. As soon as they're accused. And then we spoke about this with the, how does misconduct help drive these numbers? Mostly through plea bargaining, a coercive process that results in around 97% of criminal cases being resolved without a trial. And it actually goes on to talk about one of the topics I was speaking about, where people plea even though they're innocent. And it gives a little synopsis here. Imagine you're charged with a robbery you didn't commit. The prosecutor's case is based solely on an eyewitness who says you match the description of the subject. You're confused and scared. You've heard the stories of innocent people going to prison. The prosecutor doesn't tell you, but the witness has a history of lying under oath. If you knew about the witness's past, you could use that information to show the jury that the witness shouldn't be trusted. There would be no other evidence against you, and you would most likely be acquitted or the case would be dismissed. But you don't know about it. All you know is that you go to trial, the prosecutor will put a witness on the stand who will tell the truth that you definitely committed the robbery. You also know that if you're found guilty, you could face up to 9 years in prison. And now they offer you a deal. What are you going to do? And it all goes back to different elements and different topics and different episodes where this is one big cycle. And all these things are strategically put into place. This does not happen by accident. You know, these are all intelligent people, intelligent departments with endless money, endless resources, and endless power. They're able to strategize and play chess with people's lives. And, you know, it's funny, it just reminded me when I used that term, playing chess. On this last case, there was an agent on the stand, and one of the conversations he had actually with one of the informants that they were using, who was lying, and he was wearing a wire trying to entrap people and set people up, as the agent told him it's like playing chess. So imagine that. They're discussing setting people up, and they're equating it to playing chess. People's lives aren't a game. It's not playing chess. If the evidence is there, it will come out. If you're forcing it and you're setting somebody up, that's not evidence. That's setting somebody up. And part of the whole setup, it all goes hand in hand, is, you know, when you have evidence that you want to try to make fit the case, you leave certain details out on purpose. You bring in informants that are lying. They're not telling the truth. You just tell the informant you're looking to target somebody. and then you focus on getting that person. That all goes into really misconduct. I mean, maybe some see it as a gray area. I really don't. If you're faced with something and there's a clear choice of right and wrong, and you're choosing this mysterious gray area to suit your case and to fight for your case, I don't think that's being honorable. It's not. It's being misleading. When somebody's life is on the line, it should be black and white, and it should be they're either guilty or they're innocent. And if you feel they're guilty and you have the evidence to back it up, take them to trial and present it. Don't manipulate anything. Don't force an informant's hand and make deals with these individuals who are of a very low character just to save themselves where they're lying. You know, it goes back to the episodes on informants. It doesn't matter my personal belief on an informant. You know, I have my own philosophy on that, and I made that clear. But if you're going to be an informant, and that's what you choose to do, is to give up other people for your own salvation, you should tell the truth.